first story my then husband-to-be read aloud to me. And I like to think it has influenced the relationship for the 46 years since. Okay, the title is Ring Out Wild Bells. At Riverdale Country Day School, when we gave a production of Midsummer Night's Dream, I was the Puck. Our director had very strong feelings about Puck. It was one of his favorite Shakespearean roles. We were an all-male cast, so in that regard we were true to the Elizabethan model, but it must be admitted there were a few drawbacks about our production. The main one was the costumes. Our parents had provided our costumes, and they proved to be just a bit historically weak. Many of them went for the Elizabethan, so their offspring had ruffs and farthingales. Others read the stage directions far enough to know that the play takes part in an Athenian wood. So they went Athenian, having to do with a sheep primarily. The fairies, however, those parents were in a pool. They all went for cheesecloth with a little ill-advised tinsel. My mother, she had gotten a hold of a picture of a court jester, so I had a cap that had 3 prongs on it. I had tights from my wrists down to my ankles, and then slippers with toes that turned up. The whole thing was in green and red stripes, and it was covered from head to foot with 1,000 tiny bells. Now, our costumes were clearly perishable, so we didn't wear them to rehearsal. Nobody knew about my bells until opening night, when I made my entrance at the beginning of the 2nd act. The director had said to me, you remember, the director was very interested in Puck. He said, he is the incarnation of mischief. You must move at all times, swirling. And, he says, you are to be a little whirlwind of activity. Now, even before I made my entrance, I already had some misgivings about those gestures and my bells. But I had been coached by a higher authority. The moment came, I bounded onto the stage, and I jingled. The audience looked. Well, I mean, it must have brought back who knows what childish memories of sleighs. They looked enchanted. My first line was to a fairy. How now, spirit, whither wander you? The fairy was already embarrassed by being in public in cheesecloth. And he had 16 lines to say, but he started bravely. Over hill, over dale, through brush, through briar, over pale, over pond, through flood, through fire. I had been coached to make a great swirling motion to indicate fire. I jingled, and the fairy paused. But he had a child's strange acceptance of the inscrutable. My bells, while nerve-wracking, were to him some adult, last-minute addition. Nerve-wracking, but to be accepted. I do go everywhere, following the moon sphere. Another cue. Moon, orbit, sphere. I was to make a great motion to indicate the passage of the moon audience by this time had relapsed into helpless mirth. Some of them held their sides and leaned against each other. Whenever my bells jingled, laughter moved across the auditorium. You could hear nothing but the bells and the laughter. Everything else was inaudible. "You'll have to speak louder." It was the director in the wings, and he appeared to be in a dangerous condition. "And, for heaven's sakes, stop that jingling!" I tried. I spoke louder. The audience laughed harder. And the fairy said his next line. "Unless I do mistake me quite, your markings, you are that shrewd and knavish chap known as Robin Goodfellow. Are you not he who that?" He looked to the director in the wings. The director told him his lines. And the fairy just shook his head. The director say something. "Say anything." The fairy, he closed his eyes. All right, said the director. "You, Puck, you give your next speech." Mercifully, I remembered what my next line was, and I started to open my mouth to say it when the fairy spoke. "407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, Europe." And he said the whole thing right through to the end. It was the most impressive speech ever made on that stage. I don't really know if I ever did how the rest of us got back to the normal thread of the play. I do know. The director came at the next intermission, and with his pocket knife he cut off all my bells. After that, things quieted down and got dull.